Europe is one of the smallest continents on the planet, but in 2018 it accounted for almost half of all tourist trips in the world. In fact, 5 of the 6 most popular countries among travelers are located in Europe, and this is not surprising. Cultural diversity, breathtaking nature, diverse cuisine and culture, rich history, multifaceted cities, rich history, infrastructure, and security, contribute to the fact that Europe can be explored endlessly. Of course, it is simply impossible to reflect on everything that Europe is rich in one video, but in this short issue, we tried to collect the top most interesting places in Europe that are worth visiting at least once in a lifetime. Founded by the Carthaginians, today's Barcelona is a bustling and popular city on the Mediterranean coast, being the capital of the autonomous region of Catalonia. It is rightfully considered a real pearl of Spain. At the turn of the 19th and 20th centuries, Barcelona became the most architecturally innovative city in the world, and became famous thanks to the numerous unusual buildings that were erected here by the best architects of that era. But even among this richness in forms and solutions, the Sagrada Familia Temple, the famous project of the brilliant Antonio Gaudí, stands out as a real masterpiece. Other popular attractions in Barcelona include the Rambla, Parc Güell, the Gothic Quarter, the magnificent Promenade, and a whole complex of sites on Mount Montjuïc. Prague is a real treasury of legends and fairy tales in the open air, a city of delicious cuisine, numerous museums, and strange sculptures of medieval buildings and tiled roofs. Despite the late liberation during World War II, Prague's old town has been remarkably well preserved, which is definitely worth more than a few hours of time, and the many pedestrian zones make walking around the center a real pleasure. Prague is famous for its largest presidential residence in the world, Charles Bridge, one of the oldest mechanical clocks where you can see a whole puppet show, and many other amazing attractions. The capital of the Czech Republic is ideal for any season and travel format, whether it's a romantic weekend trip with children, an outing with friends, or even an independent visit to gain strength and inspiration. Munich is the basic city of Bavaria and an important economic center of Germany. Strict in German and, at the same time, cozy, he will charm you with his benevolence. The extreme streets of the city almost touch the Alpine slopes, the bells of majestic cathedrals chime the clock, the facades of old houses are full of flower baskets, and the sprawling front squares gather noisy companies of beer lovers every year. It's hard not to fall in love with the city with the official motto, "Munich loves you." Delicious, intoxicating, cheerful, and friendly, Munich is definitely worth a weekend away. Situated on the banks of the River Seine, this is a place from which you can return again and again, each time admiring the richness of its history, the grandeur of the sights, the variety of cuisine, and the fashion trend set. Repeatedly recognized as the most beautiful city in the world, according to the results of 2019, the French capital has also become the most visited destination in Europe. The symbol of the city, the Eiffel Tower, is called the most photographed landmark in the world. The former royal residence of the Louvre is the absolute champion in terms of the number of visitors among all art museums on the planet, and the ancient Notre Dame is one of the most majestic cathedrals of Western civilization. The sites in the vicinity of Paris deserve no less attention, among which a special place is occupied by the former royal residences of Versailles and Fontainebleau. During its prime, the Roman Empire stretched from Britain in the west to the Persian Gulf in the east, and even after its decline, Rome remained the most populated city in the world for many years, surprising descendants with grandiose and majestic buildings, many of which have survived to this day. The most impressive of them is the Colosseum, a colossal arena created for the battle of gladiators that could simultaneously accommodate up to 80,000 spectators. Very close to the Colosseum are the ruins of the Roman Forum, the place that served as the center of the public political and religious life of the boundless empire. It was from here that the countdown of all Roman roads began, and next to the grave of the great Romulus was the navel of the earth. Another Roman feature is the independent state of Vatican City located in the heart of the Eternal City. The best masters of Italy worked on his St. Peter's Cathedral. The Vatican Museum is a real treasure trove of masterpieces where you can get lost for several days. When the Hungarians came to these territories in the 9th century, Budapest was not only a fairly significant city but also managed to mark itself as the administrative center of one of the provinces of the Roman Empire. Today it is the capital of the country and its largest city for 2 millennia of existence. It has repeatedly passed from hand-to-hand success to visit both in the hands of the Mongol Khans and under the jurisdiction of the Ottoman sultans. However, today little is reminiscent of these pages of his history. Today's Budapest is known as one of the most beautiful cities in Europe and the richness of its architecture, and the fact that it was here that the first subway appeared on the continent reflects the colossal importance that it played in the Austro-Hungarian Empire. In Budapest, you should definitely visit the historical center with its many beautiful squares, museums, palaces and temples, baths, and, of course, the hallmark of the city, the luxurious Parliament building. The capital of Portugal, Lisbon, stretches along the Tagus River near the Atlantic Ocean and is one of the oldest cities in Europe. Archaeological excavations show that these places were inhabited long before London or Paris appeared on the maps. Being the most western of the continental capitals of Europe, Lisbon is also considered the sunniest of them, and its favorable location played a major role in the era of great geographical discoveries. Among the main attractions of Lisbon are the Belém Tower, the Monastery of Geronimos, the Baixa area, the National Carriage Museum, and the Metropolitan Oceanarium. To admire the magnificent views, you should definitely climb the Castle of St. George and feel the spirit of the city. The easiest way is to ride along its streets on the 28th tram route, which has long become a real symbol of the Portuguese capital. The former capital of the Habsburg Empire, Vienna is a real necklace of beautiful buildings and exquisite palaces, and its architectural splendor fully reflects the past of the city as one of the most important political and cultural centers of Europe. It is curious that until recently, some 100 years ago, Vienna was the fourth most populous city in the world, second only to London, New York, and Paris, and today it regularly tops the ranking of the most comfortable cities for living in the continent. In addition, Vienna is also one of the recognized musical capitals of the world. It was here that Beethoven, Mozart, Schubert, and Gaidenko created their masterpieces. The Vienna Opera is considered one of the best in the world. Modern Athens is known for its contrasts and it is difficult to form an unambiguous attitude towards them. However, this chaotic development does not detract from the poorest history of the city, not the fact that it was on its slopes that modern European civilization. Being one of the oldest cities in the world, Athens amazes with its ancient sites, among which a special place is occupied by the Acropolis dominating the city and its majestic Parthenon, the Temple of Zeus, which offers the best panorama of the historical center of the city and coastal quarters, deserves no less attention. But just turn the corner and you will see a modern city in which trendy restaurants and modern art museums coexist with ancient heritage. If you are tired of the rhythm of the city, go to the most beautiful coast. The water here is crystal clear, and the resorts have a peaceful atmosphere. Surrounded by the deep waters of the Atlantic Ocean, the Madeira archipelago is located almost 1,000 kilometers from continental Portugal and has one of the mildest climates on the planet. Thanks to this, Modern can receive travelers all year round because the difference between summer and winter temperatures here does not exceed 7 degrees due to its virgin beauty and not the spoiled nature of Madeira is often called the island of the garden. And the differences in relief and the presence of a microclimate in different parts of the island made its nature truly diverse. Add to this high mountains, picturesque coastlines, colorful cities and numerous hiking trails with magnificent views of the ocean, and the reason why the island is so often talked about breath becomes apparent. If your interest is the rich and famous Monte Carlo, this is the place to be. A small area located on the territory of the commune of the same name is the most wealthy and prestigious area for life. Monaco, this dwarf state has always been famous for its quality of life, but since Prince Rainier III married Hollywood actress Grace Kelly, he has firmly established himself as one of the most luxurious places on the planet, especially since the location contributes to this, by the way. Because Monte Carlo is perched on the picturesque slopes one of the most fertile coasts of the Mediterranean Sea. It is on the territory of Monte Carlo that the annual oral competition of the same name takes place, and the Formula One stage in the local casino has experienced the favor of fortune, many stars, famous businessmen and even heads of state. For hundreds of years, Venice was considered one of the richest cities in Europe, and a mighty fleet controlled the routes in the Mediterranean Sea, and the arsenal where war galleys were made was considered the largest enterprise in medieval Europe. It is not surprising that Venice became one of the first world financial centers such as New York or London today. The majestic architecture, numerous palaces, and the richest decoration of ancient churches to this day remind us of the golden time of the Venetian Republic. But the most important thing is of course the city itself, located on the archipelago of islands in the Adriatic Sea. It is famous for its unique romantic atmosphere, which earned him well-deserved recognition from lovers from all over the world. Napoleon called the main square of San Marco the most elegant living room in Europe, and attractions such as the Doge's Palace, St. Mark's Cathedral and the Rialto Bridge are so popular in popular culture that they are easy people from all over the world will recognize, even those who have never been crowned. Istanbul is the only city in the world located simultaneously on 2 continents, but the richest insight, its part is located just in Europe. The largest city of Turkey and the former capital of 4 empires at once, it is famous for a colossal number of interesting places, which is worth only Hagia Sophia, which for about 1,000 years was considered the largest temple in the Christian world. But in addition to the former cathedral, now converted into a mosque, Istanbul has something to surprise the inquisitive traveler. This is the grandiose Topkapi Sultan's palace and underground cisterns of Byzantine times, and of course the Bosphorus itself, the strait separating Europe and Asia. But if you get tired of the sights, then Istanbul is also great for shopping in numerous bazaars. The Grand Bazaar is considered the most ancient of them. The former capital of the empire over which the sun never set, modern London is one of the main financial centers of the world, known for its love of innovation and devotion to tradition. There are so many attractions here that you can explore the city for months, numerous palaces, and rich museums. Tower Bridge and the Parliament Building, Big Ben and Baker Street. You can spend more than an hour just listing interesting places in London. However, can you expect anything else from a city where even buses have become an internationally recognized attraction? But if there is very little time to explore the city, then you can take advantage of the equally famous and oldest subway in the world, which has been operating here since 1863. Madrid is the capital of Spain and the country's largest city. This is a modern and noisy metropolis, located almost in the center of the Iberian Peninsula. Madrid is the third largest city in the European Union. It constantly buzzes like a disturbed beehive and is filled with vigorous activity and life that does not stop even at night. The capital of Spain may not have enough of Barcelona's wildness, but the energy and vibe of the city, and its cultural and artistic heritage are definitely a reason to visit. Madrid with its architecture is a bit like Paris, wide avenues and beautiful monumental buildings, squares, parks, and museums. But, despite the rich history, there are few symbolic attractions that are the same as Paris, Rome, or Barcelona. Madrid can rightly be considered one of the cultural capitals of Europe. Over the centuries, the Spanish crown has accumulated masterpieces of art, which are now exhibited in numerous museums. Also, the capital of Spain is famous for its cuisine. Florence is a relatively small city for the prominent place it occupies in the modern world, despite the fact that only about 400,000 people live here permanently. Florence is famous for the fact that for many years it has been holding first place on the planet in terms of the density of attractions in relation to the population of museums alone. There are more than 70 here, and these include such rich collections of world importance as the Uffizi Gallery and the Academy. It was the Florentine dialect that formed the basis of the modern Italian language, and Florentine coins became the standard for all of Europe. The name of the Florentine Amerigo Vespucci is immortalized in the names of 2 continents, and without the laws of perspective developed by the Florentines, fine art is unthinkable. But the most important thing is that it was in Florence that medieval Europe began to wake up from the Dark Ages, giving the world a whole galaxy of outstanding learned artists and thinkers of operetta, and the highest flourishing marked the transition to a whole era called the Renaissance. Mykonos is a top Greece destination, where all the fun happens. Famous for its minimal Cycladic architecture, Mykonos is full of traditional whitewashed houses and blue-domed churches. The trademark of the island, though, is the beautiful traditional windmills in front of Little Venice, where you can also enjoy the magical sunset and capture the colorful light washing up the island's Kora. No wonder why it's widely known as the Ibiza of Greece. Your holiday there will be an experience of a lifetime, and there's a whole heap of amazing things to do. Marvel the amazing sunset from Little Venice, stroll around the narrow paved streets of Kora, enjoy your stay at the luxurious hotels, dance the day away at epic beach parties, and swim at the exotic beaches. Located in the northwest of Norway, The archipelago of the heads of the Athens Islands is stunning with its amazing beauty. Nature with the majesty of mountains, deep fjords, and long sandy beaches. This harsh grandeur has inspired artists for centuries, among whom were Jules Verne and Edgar Poe. The atmospheric and photogenic islands are very popular with tourists, and today the range of activities available includes mountain hiking, rafting, diving, skiing, surfing, and boat trips. At the beginning of the 2000s, the most important islands were connected to the mainland by a system of bridges and tunnels, which caused a new wave of popularity among travelers who want to fully immerse themselves in the atmosphere of the Norwegian fishing villages. Moreover, although the islands are located beyond the Arctic Circle due to the influence of the Gulf Stream, even in winter there are no terrible colds.